Yeah.
Hey
Still
guys,
is
oh,
Viper
good.
Coliseum here. Nah, I feel like this is just gonna be a
Wild.
cold open video. So
Yeah.
what's our thoughts?
Ooh. I'm
They
gonna like
haven't
it.
updated the
What's
website
what's
yet. I
our
was
what's our
trying to pull
initial impressions here?
I think it's
I think this is a
Parabolic junk. Like what? Like are we just big? Like is
I
it
think
bad
I
among
think
activities?
it's I think that's the proactive.
I think it's a proactive. Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
This is
for
a
the video.
we-
For the video, start from the top. We'll start with you guys can start with Ko and Sao, or Sao and Ko. Sorry.
good. I mean, we all saw that coming, right?
This card
for sure.
it's been causing so many loops. People
You
Yeah,
can
I
only you can only pair ban so many times, right? Before you're like, all right, we gotta deal with the card.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no, the card just needs to be removed. It kept creating infinite loops. There's no reason to keep it in the game. Like it just needs to
I
go.
don't think that's a hot take by any standards.
No,
A couple
I
of
think everyone
Galaxy
agrees.
players are sad, but realistically, like the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Pairband makes sense. It's the best way to
Pairband
get
makes sense.
that in play without straight up restricting Valder for like things like the XL engine that probably need it to be relevant, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
And this still lets you play a
Excel-
Sakuyamon focus deck, right? It's
Right,
just
yeah.
you're just not doing Turbo Valder on it.
You're not gonna swing for 4 checks and then go for game. Like you're not
Yeah.
OTKing with Sakuya anymore. The way
Which
you were. You have
ironically
to
we
build a
didn't
wider
see
board.
that in the finals, but the
No.
potential was there.
The potential was always there.
That's
if
what
you
the bottom row's
follow.
for.
Very true, but I think that's a good restriction because that way Excel
Yeah.
can still exist as a deck on its own, and that Valderarm still has plenty of usage in other decks in a more niche way where it's not as broken.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then Grav Crush, I think nobody's so shocked.
We
by
knew
that. Like,
no one,
that.
no one
Like,
was shocked at
it had
all.
I knew that was coming.
mhm.
I do think it's cool that Parabolic is there. Like,
I think it's
Crystal
shocking though.
practically-
Like it was never a problem. I don't know about you guys, but I'm in the camp of like I want something to be broken before we ban it. Sometimes I'm like, okay with like a card. Like if it's like a repeat offender that's like constantly becoming a problem, like the Sao and Sao and
Yeah.
Ko or something, then it needs to get. But like Parabolic junk,
think-
like Grav Crush became a problem, so we hit it. Like I'm okay with the timeline we had when it came to Grav Crush.
I think it would make more sense if they also hit Tropical Venom if they're doing it like
Yes.
Truce just to be proactive.
I,
I think-
Right.
I think this is like. Sorry, continue.
in that vein. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No,
interrupt you. In that
you
vein,
go first.
they have HPD already on the ban list, which is kind of like Green's other like memory cheat card, right? They have that
That's
already
true.
gone. Tropical Venom, like you said earlier, Lewdeon, requires your opponent to actually be playing the game. Parabolic Junk, there's plenty of ways where people could just toss in a purple or black tamer, like the Uamano coming up in EX10, for example, or something else, right?
That's-
Any other sort of black tamer that just sort of could easily just give you color access to utilize that card and bust it. Like
You actually
could-
bring up a good point there too. Like we don't know what's in store in the future, and there could be something that's
Right.
coming up that's going to be breaking this card.
Yeah, like I think because Parabolic Junk isn't limited to like a black Digimon having it or something like that. It's just you just need to be able to play the option card, and there's plenty of things that delete themselves now. So I think it is smart to get rid of that now because I think Tropical Venom isn't going to be like absolve for these cards being gone for things like Growl Loop, for example.
honestly,
Right?
given
Obviously,
that
we see-
given that CS go to or like even all of the hoodie rookies that we just got that will play out something and then delete it at the end of the turn. and then
Also
bonus turn.
true.
Oh,
Extremely
You
true.
Yeah.
Parabolic junk that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you get
there's room for
turn
that card to
back.
be
You would get
utilized
turn
for
back,
better.
yeah.
You get turned back.
Yes.
Interesting.
So that's I
Shout
think
out
that's
to
good.
Rush.
Yeah, that's good for Parabolic junk.
To move on to like the Gil and the Growl, right? Interesting that I think Risu, you brought it up, and Lewdeon too, the Growl, the EX3 Growl being sort of like a bigger component, or like a not bigger component, but like a key card.
It's a key card in like
while,
the
yeah.
for like the looping, right?
Mhm.
Because it's another way to not only like delete one of your other stacks, especially like that, like the Cerberus mon stuff, but also
Right.
Sec +1 goes crazy when you're
Right.
winning an A turn.
Right.
And
Right.
we did
but-
see that in the final. We
And
saw
and
what-
this doesn't necessarily hurt Gallantmon, right?
Mhm.
Correct. Yeah, I think it is interesting because we typically only see 1 or 2 of those being run in decks nowadays. To my knowledge, there's usually they're not like full 4 ofs.
It's like 2
You still
probably.
rely mostly, yeah.
Which is-
two
yeah.
typically.
No.
That's
So
the
I
Growl
don't
X living is
know-
huge.
I don't know how much restricting the one's really going to do to that. But Rush Geel needed to get hit. I think you needed to hit at least 2 things in Growl Loop. And I think the Rush Geel, if you wanted to keep Gallant alive and not touch the Growl X so that Gallant can still utilize that card, because I think that's
then it has to be the Rush Geo, right?
Yeah, because at least now you can't play out multiple of them at the same time. Like you have to just keep cycling that same one if you want to do those plays.
Yeah.
So if it gets stuck there, you're not getting your rush back by any means.
Yeah.
And then Grav Crush obviously slows you down immensely. You don't have those explosive turns anymore like you used to.
Right.
But not hitting Growl X, like,
So-
I don't.
I guess the idea is because that combines with the next card, like with the Gruder, right? Because this is between Gravity Crush, Rush Geo, and another Growlithe. We're hitting all of the things that are abusing them without hitting, I guess, the ideal, like, you want to play these in Gallant mode. We're not hurting that, but we're hurting all these things that are, like, kind of used, like, you know, abusing the cards.
That would have been my big concern, because if we, like, the reason I was an advocate for Growl X getting hit was because of the birds, the Growl Birds deck, because there's plenty of people that have topped with that deck without Grav Crush. Geomon is already a 1 to 2 of in those lists, so like those hits didn't really hit birds, so that's why in my mind it needed to be the Growl X. However, we, instead of doing that, we hit the Geo and then we hit Garuda X, which I think is.
I think
something had to go.
I think Bandai's idea was that Growl X wasn't the card abusing other cards; it was other cards abusing Growl X. And if you think about it, if you look at the targets they picked the cards that give rush.
Yeah,
They specifically hit the cards that give rush, that give you that aggressive plays. Because Growl X on his own, like, yes, you can go into him, yes, you can cycle out rookies, whatever.
Yep.
But he doesn't give you the immediate aggression. You have to have other supporting cards, and they made those harder to attain.
I mean, you brought that up in our dedicated predictions list, right? With that sort of like other cards were abusing the Growl X idea, which I thought was like super relevant.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's nothing on this list for Omni.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
Is there?
I was gonna. wait
Oh,
until
I mean,
after the-
DNA Omni, sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
DNA Omni. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
I was gonna wait till after the each
Yeah.
card
but
to bring some of that up. 'cause
I mean,
keep going.
plug-in and Sakuya just makes. We don't have to talk about that, right? Like,
Yeah, that
Makes
those-
sense, but it's like
we've
did
seen
we-
it
after the pair ban. Did we need it?
Oh,
with the starter deck coming out. There's
yeah, well,
probably going to be ways to replace it. I think to everybody's point too, like it also will help sell
It's
products.
just
The
slowing-
Sakuya stands will.
it's slowing down
And
their
you still
draws.
have-
They're not drawing
and
as
you
many
still have-
cards.
and you still have Scramble right available, so you just don't have like 8 cards that are evoing your trickery now.
Because
You
what
have
was
5.
really like nasty, right? Was like you would plug into Sakuya, then use Sakuya with the Scramble. Now they're kind of forced to use Scramble and burn all that up now. You
Well,
know, so
how
that
many
like
plugins did you use in this deck? It was like 2 to 3, so we do significantly cut them.
No, you used all of them. You used 4.
used all of them. 4, 3 to
You used
4.
4.
Yeah.
I feel like
Thanks,
3
bro.
was a
4
reason-
plugin.
okay.
You used maybe some list, but typically you used 4 plugin as 4 Scramble.
Okay.
Then it was like 3 or 4
You got to
training,
see
3 or
them,
4
right?
boosts.
Like you need to
Yeah.
see the plugins to get to because you don't want to waste your scrambles getting to your 6. You need to use them on the 7.
Hitting the Sakuya is like the draw Sakuya is like so huge, I think, because that was a big part of them being able to just dig through their entire deck, right?
I think this will force Sakuya players to run their decks more consistently rather than being able to run the like single like high roll lines that they were doing. They have to run a more consistent build, which levels it out a bit.
Right,
And then
'cause
of
they
course,
were on,
like we were
what,
saying,
8
I think the biggest thing, genuinely more than anything else, outside of just trying to hit Sakuya and slow it down to make it so that it's not completely busted when we get the starter deck, is also just to help sell the starter deck for it or the advanced deck.
Mhm.
You need to give people a
There's-
reason to want to buy the deck.
Which I mean, I think Sakuya will still be relatively strong still. Like I don't think the deck is like completely gone. It's just not as like busted per se.
I mean, we still have access to Ruin mode, and we still have
Right.
access
You still have access to room mode.
It's just we still can play Sakuya X, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like
some of the key problems I feel like aren't like there, but they at least solved one of them, which is the OTK.
You
Right.
force Sakuya to play
Right.
a more like defensive control game rather than playing this like
Right, and,
aggressive
like,
TK style.
BT16 Sakuya is still like strong in its own right. You know,
17.
17 Sakuya, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 17 still does some really good stuff. You just don't have this like the token play that you do with this guy and everything else. Purge.
I think that
it had to be one of the white cards, right? There was no
Yeah.
way they were hitting anything else if we were gonna hit one ice.
I think it makes a lot of sense to hit this, right? Because of just the tempo of like, oh, probably you purge an Omni X out of your stack, it swings, it gets another. Like it's Purge has made the kill turn of Royal Knights so fast, opposed to you don't even need to find like BT13 Omni, right? There's so many times you just win off of this. You can just purge. You can purge out a freaking Omni X and then just hard drop get Crimson mode and you win.
Right.
There was also the
Purge
fact that
also
it
made
tucked any
Go ahead,
Digimon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my next point.
It's shoving the Omegamon under to just enable that without having to get it deleted.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
The other thing is, the last thing I'll add is like it really helped solve some of these situations that Royal Knights had, where like their risk of like, oh, I have double ace in my Kingdrasil stack. Oh, let me just purge that out and then do my play. Like they can no longer really efficiently do that.
You can't take out that second or you can out of your stack, right?
Right.
You get punished now for abusing or you can. That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna start the Melga talk. I don't think it needed to get hit. Right? Why would keep gotta put the dog down?
I'm glad I sold them last night.
That's so crazy. Like this was I
really didn't think
the
they'd do it.
tournament had no.
I didn't expect it, but I do understand it.
Yeah.
It also seems like a good preemptive card just because of how abusable it can be, especially with that Sagittarius mode.
Yes,
but like,
and
but I
with
didn't
what
expect
Gas
it.
was starting to do with the Alter S stuff, like the memory you gain is just insane, and it's like I said before, it's the same principle as Mirage.
Oh, but was it a problem? Mirage was a problem, like in terms of
right. But the only reason this card wasn't a problem was because people just forgot about it mostly. It didn't have any other decks.
Because I mean, TJ, like when you played against, like even just like not even Gas, like when we were testing and I was just doing Melga, like how many times did I evo for 4 and like still net memory?
Yep, it was terrifying.
Training off of it.
You would just
you
would just scramble. You would training.
With Sagittarius, it's just it's a plus memory mega with Sagittarius.
Yes,
even outside of the Ultra S deck.
They gotta keep putting my dog down. So like, I guess my big thing is like, I look at like we had like in this, we just came off of like for the video, we just came off of watching the Grand Asia Open where there was only one Melga in the top 6 or the 64 players. There was only one Gas deck, right? We didn't get to see it at all. It didn't even make it into the top 16.
But you have to remember, Gas also wasn't around that long. It was only around literally for like the past couple of weeks.
It won one event and then
there wasn't
jack.
Yeah, but there hasn't been many events either to get it in there. That's the thing.
Fair.
You have to think about how many events have actually happened and how much time it's had to perform. And in that small window of time, it already topped, and people were still solving the list.
Oh, is the stream back? No,
the stream hasn't come back. But
no, I think
like that goes into it's gonna lead into my next point of like we can start talking about like what didn't get hit. And we were just talking about Gallant. They completely avoided Gallant. Gallant has been topping in the BT22 format multiple times over.
Yeah.
EX9 format it's been topping. Like Gallant is still like
Gallant's still a good deck.
It's a good deck, but it's never been oppressive. But it's never been oppressive to the point where it's overrun the meta. Like it's never been like this is the deck that everyone's playing and just constantly is winning all of the time.
Like Gallant definitely feels like a deck that like if it hits the nuts and OTKs you, it feels really bad. It feels really oppressive. But then there are also games where like if they brick,
doesn't play.
They just don't play.
They don't play the game.
And I think that's sort of like the 2-2 that they're probably looking at. Same thing with Omni. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like if they hit the nuts, or you're playing against a really like good player that kind of knows the plays, and it's definitely a tough, annoying deck to play against. But also the brick potentiality is also very much there, which is why I feel like it's heavily represented, which is why I feel like it tops a lot. But at the same time, like you can still play around it. I am surprised, like if there was a card to hit, like some people brought up already in chat with like Miraculous. Like that was probably the card. If there were to be a hit for DNA Omni, I feel like that probably would have been the one.
That, yeah.
And there's still a chance we'll see it. To be honest, there's like
Well,
we're talking about
to hit
what
Gas
ifs.
because it's so new. Because like the same reason they wouldn't hit Omnimon was so new.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I have to.
But I guess
I have to
more
assume.
tops. and so does Gallant. Like they just
The thing is,
both those decks exist.
This is also an old card, though.
it's an older card that can find utilization elsewhere. And the thing is that anytime they make Melga support, they have to consider this card.
Yeah. No, I think it was. I think it was. I think
on
it
that
was
train of,
correct.
like,
You
let
I think it's a
fans
good
say
hit.
part of it,
Bro.
a
They
card
have
that might come out in a year from now. Like,
But it's not. The thing is, to us, it's a might come out. To Bandai, it's they know what's coming up. I have to assume that if they're
Yeah.
hitting these stuff, there's probably a reason.
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's
I
a
will
good way to look at
say,
it.
like, I know they've kind of phrased their list as like, oh, we're looking at like sort of pre BT22 sort of data and compiling a list off of it, which I think everything makes sense outside of EX1 Melga, right? Because I think EX1 Melga, as we've talked about, is like very much a recent, like in the past couple weeks, and they're definitely doing more of a preemptive hit to it, which I think is interesting. But everything else definitely feels like they've looked at the data that's been around and made the list there, right? But the EX1 Melga, which I think goes to show, like TJ was saying, they probably either have one, like really big support coming up, or two, like they just anticipated being a huge problem moving forward, and they knew that they just needed to do something about it, because we're probably not going to get a ban list for at least another, what, like 5-6 months at the earliest.
Think of it this way, right? Galaxy could utilize the X1 Melga and gain a bunch of memory off of Ko and Sayo.
I thought about it.
Yeah,
Of course you did.
I definitely thought about it.
Looks like the stream's back.
oh, the stream's back. The stream's kind of.
I guess so. But yeah, like you have to consider that angle too, right? Like there's they have to be careful of any generic blue support they make and whatnot. And I know that you don't like the idea of like a card that might come out, but they are designing stuff and they have to consider this card when they're designing things. So just even in that sense, that inhibits them from like actually being able to do other things freely.
Yeah, cards
That's
that
fair.
limit card design are rough.
Yeah.
As long as we all agree that, like, you look at the rest of the hits and like everything is
It's
basically
definitely
someone at some
unexpected.
point has talked about. I guess maybe the growl is the only thing that's like kind of was thrown out there at random. It feels like, but you look at it and you're just like, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
the Melga's
Because like
the
I said,
only,
they hit like
Correct.
all of the variants of this growl
Mhm.
stuff.
yeah. So
Yeah, you can
like I
tell they
said in
really
the
wanted to
chat.
hit everything without hitting Gallant. That's really what they wanted to do. It looks
which
like.
I think it's crazy to not hit Gallant. Like for me, like I kind of want like
What would you have hit?
it would have been the Growlithe. It would like if you actually like I would have the Growlithe would have been nice just to like soften the blow and soften their like crazy draw consistency. But if I wanted to hit Gallant X, it would be the War Growl X.
The
That's like the
+1
big
one?
card in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big card for me. But I wasn't expecting Gallant to get hit that way because I was expecting the Growl X to get hit, which
Sure.
clearly wasn't it.
Sure. That's fair.
Yeah,
And
Boramon
then,
about to go
Omni-DNA
crazy.
not getting hit is interesting.
I
guess
can
we'll
see
have to
that.
see.
I can see that.
I think a lot of the wide board decks are really well positioned now.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like
Puppets
this
and
brings
Diablo are in
back
really good
what
spots.
puppets. What is Puppets struggling against right now? Like what?
Galaxy,
trouble?
Galaxy, because
Virus-
Galaxy can
Galaxy's
source
rough.
strip you.
Galaxy's rough with the Source Strip.
Trying to do things to him.
Galaxy didn't get hit. Not really, anyway.
No,
Correct.
not really. But the
Bulldogs
thing
didn't
with
get hit at
Puppets,
all.
they also just had trouble dealing with like how fast the game could be sometimes because it could just outpace them if there's too much removal.
Mhm. Which they did get. They hit that right. Like when we're talking about game speed, the Gyo, Sakuya, right? Like those were the two
Mhm.
things really setting the pace for things. I feel.
Yeah.
Is there anything we missed?
Purple Hybrid didn't really get touched either.
I don't think
But does it need to?
No, I don't think it needed
It's
to,
good, but it's not oppressive.
Yeah,
I know because
I
a lot of
think-
people were kind of clamoring for like a Velgar hit, right, or a Duskmon hit because
It's
kind of
so
what we saw, like
strong.
it's still strong and it still snuck some results here and there. So people were like, well, if you hit Megi and you hit Sakuya, then like Purple Hybrid then becomes sort of like a sleeper, like quick tempo, like bully pick, right, where they can just kind of do Purple Hybrid shenanigans and blow you out. But I mean,
Mhm.
I think it's fair to not really touch it. They also recently hit it too. There's no reason to hit it again.
Yeah, I think they like when I look back to how the ban list played out for Purple Hybrid, like the ban list was perfect. For Purple Hybrid, if we're talking about that still,
Mhm.
because it was like they were dominating the format, right? They were like like they were top 2, top 3 deck easily without question, and then ban list happens, and then they're like, okay, we're sometimes in the top 16. They took a deck that was dominating to a deck
Mhm.
that could still top and people could still play it and still have
But it
success
wasn't
with it.
destroying everybody.
And but
Yeah.
exactly, and I think that was the most beautiful like storyline that could have happened to any deck.
That was the best way to handle it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to now see what like Eagles tournament's gonna look like.
Right.
I was about to say, I think, I mean,
Omni. Obviously,
I'm sure it's a lot of Omnimon. Though there's also like like the Kukuamon also exists, right?
mhm.
Kukua. Oh, can't ignore. So maybe like you
Can't
think
ignore
people might try to
requirements.
like hard counter Omni and just go
Yeah,
in that direction?
Yeah, because if you drop one of those down, unless they're playing like Secret Greymon or something, right? They have to like hard drop a War Greymon to delete it.
Mm-hmm. But then they
Um,
could adapt to doing that because some decks are already going back to the BT17 style.
Yeah.
I mean, what I
But
think is
if-
really nice is like we're already like talking about how like there's so many now like different possibilities for decks to come out and do things. Like it definitely opens up the playing field a lot more now, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
For
think
all the
so.
decks
Like
that
a
just
go wide Fenrir could come back because Omni is
Right. No, yeah. Like you've got a ton of Hunters, honestly, I feel like is also in a pretty decent spot now too, with some of the tools that has accessibility to. So like there's a lot of
Mhm.
stuff that definitely comes out of this list and makes it. So I think TJ, you said it in a commentary video, like now that like these decks are gone, everything just like jumps up a tier.
yeah.
I think that's essentially where we're at.
I think because the thing is that these decks set the game pace at such a higher level than what other decks could keep up with. That even if the decks like ceiling could keep up with them, they just needed the extra turn or two to do stuff that they didn't have before.
Yeah, like you're facing down like a any of the Guilmon engine decks, and you genuinely don't know if you're going to die or not next turn, and that's every single turn.
Yep.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter
That's
whether you're
fair.
at 5 security or 10 security. You don't know if it's over. You could just die.
Right.
Eaters
Mhm.
high tier
That's
2,
fair.
baby.
Yeah, what is
I
I
think-
think because like I know a lot of people are talking, like people in chat are hyping up Adventure, hyping up Hunters, and then I just the second you tell me those two decks are hyped up, my brain just
Galactic's in a good spot. Galactic's biggest issue was
that's
Growlithe
not a deck
Digimon.
I ever want to be good. I
because
gotta be honest
Magidra
with you
just had
guys.
too much removal for Galactic to actually handle for all the layers.
But like, do we want
Galactic can still be a
good?
problem, or can still be handled though by playing it. Like Galaxy can still potentially be really rough for
Okay.
Galactic if you don't play it right.
Omni can still
it'll be
deal with
still
it.
okay.
Omni can still be really hard, like because you sit at a typically decently high DP, but like your protections are limited, and like Omni will just chew through you. Omni will rip you apart.
Like your hope is you gotta be able to pop like the Nokias every chance.
Yeah,
It's
you have
just-
to
and
set
then
your
the
promo
Scorch Earth-
plays to specifically count.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You play at the Mirays, so you have to bait out the tamer deletion on the Mirai, or else they just get the Nokia.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's interesting. I get scared. Like the Scorched Earth decks are never fun. Like that could go south really fast. So
I do
To be
think
fair-
Biased Imperial is in a pretty good spot.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
think literally every deck is in a better spot now because of this.
Yeah.
I think we
Which
could
goes
literally
to
go
show how
across the board and
crazy
just-
these decks were.
Yes.
right?
Yeah. We like because there's no deck that looks at this list and goes, yeah, this doesn't really matter for me. No, it's all of them genuinely are just in a better spot. Maybe some are it's less impactful for them because they were already eating pretty well. But I think that overall it closes a gap that was widening pretty vastly, pretty quickly with where the meta was going.
what about Jesmon? Jesmon GX. Like have you guys?
Do you mean the Turbo Genku stuff?
Genku? Yes, I
Genku
guess.
Turtle.
Yes, we should
It's
talk
the same.
about that.
I think it's the same thing that it's always been. It's like if
'Cause
you high
that's
roll and see the pieces you
winning.
win.
Right? Like,
I
that's a deck
hate
that's
it.
winning before this ban list, and it's like
Yeah. And we haven't seen a lot of it yet. Like we're seeing it, it's coming up, and it's genuinely just turbo. I'm immune to everything.
I completely agree, Panzer. I think that's correct. I think you need decks like Galactic in the format to help balance out the decks that are tamer heavy. Because tamer heavy decks otherwise just run away.
Until Black War comes back.
I think just
That's
both
what
are
I'm
good.
saying. What does this look like? What is this? How does this change our format going into like EX10? Because that's soon. When is
So,
EX10?
I think
slated? That's next
Black War-
month.
Black War has better consistency in defensive
Yeah.
plays, but I don't know if it'll be enough to save it. September 19th that it drops.
September. 19th. Okay,
Literally
less than a
the
month.
weekend of Cardfest.
Yeah,
True.
pretty much. I think Demon Lords got some good support out of what they wanted there. Not that I don't want them to get support. I hate Demon Lords, but I think they got good support out of it. I think Belfamon Tribal's probably in a good spot too,
Yeah, I don't think
as
so.
well.
Belfamon Tribal, I can see.
Lucamon Tribal's probably in a good spot. I don't
Lucamon.
really know how the Deus stuff is gonna like that.
The Deucemon stuff, but
I have a feeling it's probably gonna fall flat on its face, like the rest of the
it's Atmon.
stuff has been struggling. Yeah. Until they like give 2 ways of support for the same actual Atmon, and I don't think it's gonna go anywhere.
Like I love
instead of just-
Atmon, but
Same,
they're
it's
not
fun.
there. They're not there yet.
Bagra, I think we just need to see how it actually plays out. Same thing with Dark Knight, because they still just are like scared to give them anything. I don't think Dark Masters goes too crazy just yet. I think the new level 6s are really good, but the new Apocalypse kind of dogs, so it balances out.
Leaving them insecurity was definitely an interesting way to go about doing it.
Yeah, they're just gonna get removed though so many times.
Yeah,
so quickly.
like
They're not gonna stick in there long.
No,
I do think, and maybe this is crazy, but I actually am in the pool that I think Myotis might be the best poised deck, like support wise, out of EX10.
Myotis is so gas, dude. Myotis and Lucamon, both of those are the 2 decks I'm like, oof.
They both got like the exact support. The Yukio that gives you rush is insane.
I think my big thing with Myotis is the level 6. They just didn't have a payoff, and no, the new 6s are everything the deck wanted.
The new 6 is way better. Yeah, I mean like to be fair, BT16 Malomyotis isn't bad by any means. He's a really strong card. It was just hard to make use of him because you didn't have rush and you didn't have an on play.
Fair. I'll give you that.
And like old Mallow had a really good on play, but didn't really have any means of like consistently controlling the board after that. This new Mallow just kind of does it all. So I will say that he's definitely better in that regard, 100%. And the new Venom's pretty decent too.
For the sake, because we could probably yap a whole lot for the sake
That's
of
true.
our
Yeah.
ban list video.
Well,
Probably wraps up our discussion, right? You know, and we can
good
probably.
ban list?
I think it's a good ban list. I think overall it's a very solid ban list.
Yeah. I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I finally found a deck for this format that I was enjoying, and now it's gone. And so I guess we go back to adventure. But other than that, it's probably a 9 out of 10. 9.5
You were
out of
enjoying
10,
this
something
format?
like that. I mean, I had a deck that I was enjoying.
There was a dog. You can play a
There
dog.
was finally a dog back at the meta. Now we go
Also-
play adventure, I guess.
You're right, Panzer. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. He did play at the end of opponent's turn, but it was still just rough because he just didn't have as much as he needed to do things.
Yeah, but I think overall great list. We'll probably talk more about it in depth over the next couple of weeks because there's a lot of exciting times coming up, right? Between like now and like
I expect a
Cardfest.
The
lot
tweet
of-
says
yeah,
official
on
official
Eagles.
reasoning will come out at a later date, and I assume that's when,
Yeah.
or like they plan for when the ban list like actually goes into effect.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we can
My
kind of
issue
break
with
that
that
down
is
when
like
it
they
comes
never
out.
talk about why things didn't get hit, right? Like they're not
Sure.
going to talk about like why Gallant didn't get hit, why Omni didn't get hit, why.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. I always take the reasoning stuff with a grain of salt. So
My favorite reasoning was, I think it was Ice Wall. It was like despite working as intended, we like didn't expect people to play this card at force. Like, what was it? It was something silly like that.
Anyway,
but yeah, bye guys.
Yeah.
video.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.